coming from that direction. Paranoia going to follow suit. So now it should be snuffed out. Dominant's going to be looking to potentially rotate here.
That they will be. One player anchoring in towards A still, but it's the Jet, so perfectly fine there. Fiend very comfortable on that operator, shut everything down. There's also another player making their way over here, but still a minute on the clock. However, final destination does seem to be the A site for Dominance.
And with the late rotations from Goodfellas, if Dominance can pull this trigger quickly, they should be able to get the site, and that they do. Prod going to get the first frag, but Fiend with up on site is able to get the trade. Plus one more. Can he get the third? He does with the classic, but Chaotic going to be quick to end that spree. And now Goodfellas with man advantage. It's all up to Chaotic. What can he do?
That's a tough situation to be in here. 1 versus 3. They have the Cypher Cam as first contact. They should just be able to swing off of this, shut it down. Even the ping comes through. Nothing he can really do at this point of time. And if he stops for a moment, he's just going to get bullied. Still alive. They're not even letting him have the opportunity. Seth to shut that one down. But, I mean, to start off, man, we got to give that round to Fiend. A 3K on the round. And it was the operator to start things off. I think crucial that he had the tailwind up at this point in time, because he was initially getting a little aggressive in towards short, but he never had to use that tailwind to get out, so he's able to find his shot, find his rotation, and pick up a little bit more. Goodfellas looking good off the rebound there.
Oh, so good. And more specifically, Fiend 9-2 already so early in this game. And what an exciting start here for Goodfellas, simply because what a motivation booster it is when you start to see one of your players pop off like this. Fiend getting so many first bloods to start off this game. Now that he's got that op in hand, it's going to be really hard for Dominance to take side control.
Yeah, he still has the tailwind yet again. He can just keep fighting here, gets out of dodge for free, and now this retake should be quite strong, especially as Venture finds that frag. It's a 4v2. They're not even being given an opportunity. Cheat code. My man just pop flashes through the smoke and destroys them all.
Wow, this guy on KO. I mean, it's, as you said earlier, really just putting the work in the range and recognizing what he needs to do. Phenomenal positioning, but the flashes, all the utility coming out from him, almost textbook usage. And we talk about this a lot in the scene, right? Are you using your utility with purpose, or are you just throwing it out willy-nilly, right? Well, we can very much see that Cheat Code is doing all of the calculated utility usage, and we love to see it.
And he already has the null command online. The blades are still up for Fiend. They have ults to work with early on here. And you see how much this double initiator is working for them, because they have info towards lobby off a recon dart. They have info towards long off of that knife. Like, really Dominance is perfectly read into just off the rip roaring start of the round. But Cheat Code, again, he just doesn't even need to see him, man.
Not at all. Gonna go for the repeat. Gets another one, and Seth as well gonna pick up one. Here's a trade that comes through for Dominance, but still Goodfellas just holding it down on every single site, it seems. And right now Dominance just kind of looking lost in the sauce, not really knowing what to do. That's a good frag though from Chaotic. Is one hit. Oh, DBK on the other side as well. This could be a round recovered if they can move quick enough. They'd have enough time. They still have to get the spike though.
Oh, Spike is deep in spawn, and T-Dog is about to spot it. He can play around this now. This is crucial. A round-winning moment right here. And look at the health on Chaotic. He'll be walking straight on into T-Dog's position.
Oh, this is what you hate to see right here. It's and just phenomenal awareness by T-Dog to get into that flank position where, look, because you kept the spike in such a precarious situation, it costs you your life. And now with the 2K to secure the round, phenomenal gameplay there from T-Dog, and Goodfellas are just looking, well, as their namesake goes, all too good.
All good. FNS. Yeah, I mean, this is just a fantastic start for Goodfellas. I think where it could have gone wrong for a moment there was that Seth died. They're putting a lot of emphasis on the setup around the trips. The only real utility defending both Garage and B is the trip for information. So when Seth died, that map control was open. They found a couple on the lurks, but obviously the spike was never committed with them, and T-Dog just able to make the play to shut it all down. 5-1 on the scoreline, and it's important to note this is the defensive side where they're finding it. Normally you expect the attackers to be out on top of this map, but it's not happening here. It's a quick hit in towards A.
Here we go. Fiend with that op is blinded, but it does not matter. Timing is his friend. Cheat Code gonna get one of his own. Now with the rest of the team having to slow down the push with numbers not in their favor. what can they do? Again, Dominance just unable to find answers here on any of their pushes, and it just seems like Goodfellas are in their head living rent-free.
I mean, yeah, that null CMD getting popped there, it was so impactful because he doesn't use it to get aggressive. He just uses it to hold back. The pulses there are going to give everyone that suppression debuff, which means no utility can be used. And on a pistol round like that, you want to be able to use those darts. You want to be able to use those flashes to fight your way forward, but none of that could happen. Really heads-up play out of the KO. And, I mean, I'm just loving cheat code on this agent right now. 9 and 4, 7 assists to boot. And Goodfellas, I feel like the best way to put it is that they're just looking comfortable.
So comfortable. The double-double in sight for cheat code already. Only 7 rounds in. My goodness, this guy is massive right now. And here we go. Knife gonna also do a good amount of revealing here. And Paranoia, can he get something to follow off of it? He is missing every bullet. Not like this, T-Dog. Prod finding his first frag of this round. DBK helping now to get onto site, holding that long angle, and with the run it back, I mean, finally, Dominance looking to dominate A site.
Oh no, this is just such a feels bad man way to possibly lose a round. Double updraft won't show anything for Fiend, and they'll have heard that. They'll have known what he's up to. This post plant setup looking strong. The Hunter's Fury as an extra precaution. Goodfellas, they do have the money, so no real reason not to at least try and get some damage in here.
Well, here we go. It's all or nothing. Fiend versus the world. It's got the knives out, but whips the first one. Does follow it up with a nice little dinky with the Sheriff, but it's not going to matter. Sky's going to clean him up. And finally, Dominance able to win their second round of the map. And, you know, it's as you said earlier, this is a weird kind of start because you're usually not used to seeing, especially on a map like Haven, the defensive side to come out to such a strong lead early on. Now, it's still not over. If you can try to get 6s or maybe even win 5 rounds, then it's still okay and winnable. But again, to only win 5 rounds on attacking side is a pretty feels bad.
Yeah, that's really what you do not like to see on a map like this. That last round just sucks for T-Dog with that whiff. If he had found that kill, definitely could have been a different story had they been able to hold on to the short control, but it doesn't happen. Now we find ourselves into the 9th here, and Fiend, he's pushed up so far to get something done. Yeah, finds a shot, dash away, but he still wants to fight.
Naturally slow, but the cages and the smoke's gonna just completely cut off his sight lines. Prod, though, able to find him. That's a big pickup here early in this round. It's a 4v4, and right now, Dominance is looking towards this garage. Dart from Sova gonna reveal cheat code in with the spray down from Chaotic. They have control now of this site, but it's T-Dog redeeming himself with the spray and the 2K. Now Paranoia to follow, but counter flash, and look at this. The 3K coming out as Prod flashes himself, and you know, it's T-Dog gonna be holding down the site.
T-Dog is a reformed man at this point in time. He felt his mistakes from the last one, looking for a little more. DBK does allow it, but it's 1v2. He has no HP, just the operator in hands. It's not going to happen. That op should be able to be recovered here by Seth, or not even by Seth, regardless. It falls into the hands of the Goodfellas. Fiend got things rolling to such a good start, and then, I mean, it was just T-Dog anchoring on the site. Some mistakes definitely made there by Dominance, because that push felt a little uncoordinated. No utility went forward initially. They line up. It's small mistakes, but when you're already down this far, that can be very punishing because they weren't able to build up a cushion of economy. Their loss bonus is going to be worse for wear because they did win that one round, and now it's just the Sheriffs. We could be looking at the likes of like a 9-3-8-4 here at a best case scenario for Dominance.
Oof, T-Dog getting the opening frag again this round. And you know, I have to ask you, Mimi, like, I kind of agree with you at this point. It's really looking very precarious for Dominance, but what does Dominance have to do different? Like, how do they make sure that they can win these last few rounds here on attack side? Because they've just been kind of looking like they're lost and walking around taking 1v1s. Like, what is that, dry peak? I'm not so sure, but Fiend, again, just feed him some more, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, this round should be over. Just the pistols, the setup looking very strong. Cheat code. Ooh, it does fall. It's a rifle that could be recovered, but there's still 2 on the site. Great paranoia from T-Dog. I mean, I think that you might have doubted their coordination for a second, but these players have the experience, they have the system, and they're working really well at it. And in way of your question there, I think that they've been playing this default pretty consistently, but I feel like they're never really finding much pressure off of it. They're just sitting in their default, and then just full execing a site, and it just doesn't look coordinated. I'd love to see them just maybe focus on a hard exec. This B site has never been held directly by Goodfellas. It's almost always just a tripwire
30
anchoring
seconds
down
left.
this position. Even if you can just get that spike down and try and fight for link control, there's something. But in this one, they will get the spike down. At least it's money, but the post fight can be very hard, especially as the lineups find CKY.
Wow, CKY. That's a big feels bad. Never feels good to die to a shock dart. But now it's Dominance trying to hold it down, but Fiend, the discipline, the patience, gets Sacred, and with the DBK, the last man alive, gonna be Seth to finish him off from long. And you know, I have to say, like, it's still not over, but I agree the default style simply is just not working, and I think it has a lot to do with Goodfellas discipline on D, right? They are not pushing out, they are not looking to try to over aggress, they are holding on to their guns, they're holding on to their positions and just working together. You can tell the comms are there, and they just are almost working in seamless cohesion and synergy, and you just love to see it.
Yeah, you really do love to see it. And I think that part of this also for this Goodfellas squad is that it's not that they're just not getting aggressive, it's that they're giving Fiend the space to do Fiend things, right? Like they're not limiting him. They're not forcing him to play anywhere. The team will flex around this jet op. They'll let him get aggressive because he has the discipline himself to find one pick and tailwind away. And consistently, we've seen him open up these rounds. Dominance, the only flashes they have are on prod, so they've struggled to shut down this op play. And it seems like they actually agree with me. B site will be taken. The question is of post plan.
Well, finally executing on this B site, as it has been the weakest site for Goodfellas all game, but can they play the retake scenario? Right now already on B site, it looks like, but Goodfellas also stacking towards that A connector. But look at how disciplined Dominance is, holding strong here on the backside of grass as well as window. Now finally Soval is going to come out, but DBK going to pick 2 quick kills up. Prod getting one of his own, and with the DBK 3K, this is looking very winnable for Dominance, as Venture going to look for the tap, and Chaotic to finalize the round. And you know, hey, it's something if we can get the 8-4 and maybe win some momentum off the 2 pistol rounds. When the side switch happens, it's 8-6. It's still winnable. It's something.
Yeah, it's something. It's definitely winnable at that point in time. That's just unfortunate towards Garage. They fumbled the bag a little bit on that paranoia. T-Dog blinded out his teammate. That kind of staggered them because you saw the players who were on the site were trying to fight forward, but there was no pressure out of Garage, so that mid control was still fully that of Dominance. That's a play where, like, I love it. They're going to get a round off of it, but you can't do it twice. Because look, Goodfellas is changing how they play mid. Now they've put their jet up there, and he's aggressing down for an early fight. A lot of trust in the KO to hold that smoke as well. I just love the confidence, the trust that this team is showing early on. And honestly, Fiend not seeing someone here, it's almost even more useful because he knows that they can't be Garage, they can't be mid. And with that Cypher Cam towards A long, they're already aware that this has to be a C exec, and that means rotates will likely be quick.
Right now, just holding strong. Goodfellas recognizing that they don't want to over-rotate, give up a site too early. Now the drone, C-Long, has alerted side of Goodfellas, and already you see it. Rotations coming out. They're running back, going to try to get the likes of Dominance on site, but not going to find it as Prod is immediately taken down. DBK, though, on entry, gets 2 of his own. Prod to follow. And now, look at this. Venture holding it down with a 3K of his own, and it's a 1v1 between Chaotic and Seth. And I don't know if Seth knows that he's here. He's not ready for it. Chaotic winning the half here for Dominance, so to speak. You know, winning as many as they could at the side switch, and very well played there on the latter half by Dominance.
And looking back at this, it was such a strong start out of the Goodfellas. That pistol round was looking fabulous. And towards the later half, I think they were just winning the information game because you have basically an information character in way of that jet op getting aggressive. It's just a scope train somewhere. You have the Cypher. You also have the KO as well as that Silva. Like, they have so much. They always knew exactly where Goodfellas were going, which made it incredibly hard to find the right rotation, to find that timing into a free site. It was really never happening. So it was a hard-fought half, but it's a winnable half. Dominance, if they can get the ball rolling early, find themselves that 6-8 scoreline off the pistol round like you mentioned, there's definitely a chance, but it's a pretty attacker-leaning map. And Goodfellas, what they were showing me with how they were playing around that information makes me suspect that they will be doing the same on this attacker side.
Well, so far, right now, it's looking like Goodfellas playing that default style as they are spread out across the map. a lot of members of Dominance here on the C side. So, of course, the call outs being made to head towards A, which looks like it's been completely given up. Only one anchor there in the likes of Chaotic, but will he be enough? I mean, he's playing so passively too off the site.
Yeah, I mean, they've really bid on that fake, right? It was very little committed. Just, I think a fake dash forward, a little bit of utility in towards C. They completely vacate A, so now it's down to the retake and taking a peek at their comp. It's all right for the retake. They have that Phoenix, they have that Sova, but it's not nearly on the level of utility Goodfellas had when they found themselves in these situations. Spike is down, so it's 5v5 as that timer starts to tick.
Goodfellas now clumping up here in this defender side spawn, looking to potentially get this entry here. DBK gonna dash through into the smoke, gets the first on a cheat code. Prod finding one of his own on the Seth, and one by one, all of the members of Goodfellas falling, and can Dominance win this very pivotal pistol round. Good molly there by Prod, and he's gonna get the 4K. That is an insane round, Mimi, for Dominance, and exactly what they needed to start this half.
That's a precedent setter. That's something that's going to swing the momentum back towards their favor. Now only 3 rounds the deficit for them to work back up against. And I mean, Goodfellas, they had a pretty strong post plant. They had a man position towards Graffiti, Crossfire towards Hell, but the utility usage was just perfect. Cloudburst goes out, that cuts off the player that was tucked towards Hell's side. They have a Molly in for Graffiti, so the Jet can isolate that duel very easily. And then there's just like an entire football team just running it down behind DBK.
Oh my God, look at this.
Things up. Prod especially looking good, but yeah, you're right. Force by forward, they're really going to try and go for this, and I kind of love it from Goodfellas. Dominance, I doubt they'll expect this one as it's a pop flash through and it's aggression towards long.
Well, here it is. The 2-stack on long, though, could work out in their favor. It's a 1-for-1, but already Dominance recognizing that it's the full force has to back off. This is extremely risky, but if Goodfellas can pull it off, it will be a very big round to kind of slow the game down and not let it get too out of control in favor of Dominance through Eco. But here we go. Drone coming in from Venture. Going to clear out a short, but will he be able to see anybody? No, that drone will be taken out.
And it will. T-Dog still tucked in here, trying to find an early fight, but nothing's being given away. They're just trying to cut noise and re-exec, and it's worked to an extent. 2 players rotated away. It's now kind of playing into this 2-2 split, and I believe one of those players still only has the Ghost. That's a jet up towards Heaven, so they're actually down in Hell instead. So this hold could be very tough. You see the knife lined up by cheat code, so there should be suppression. Utility likely not going to be a factor here for Goodfellas.
As you can see from the picture-in-picture, knife is going to go out. DBK not going to be revealed by it, though, but it doesn't matter. Seth's got the aim. Now T-Dog to follow with 3 of his own, and the site is completely in the hands of Goodfellas. And now Dominance looking like the whole round rides on Sacred's back. Will he be able to get pre-aim refire? No, Venture gonna find the final frag, and that right there was such, I don't know who made the call, but whoever did to force that round was huge, and that might just make or break this game for Goodfellas.
Yeah, I love the call to force it, and I love the mid-round calling as well. T-Dog doing a really good job with the calling on this roster. They just cut noise for a moment there and re-exec, like I talked about during the round. Goodfellas, or excuse me, Dominance had bitten on it a little bit, had rotated away, and now look what this has done to their money. They've actually been able to muster a hero rifle up for DBK. That's because he was bonusing onto the pistol. I think his plan was bonus with that Ghost and then rocking off into round 3, but obviously they lost, so it will just be this rifle to work with. But he can make himself a hero in this, as this is a double push towards C-Long. Lots of space garnered. It's T-Dog's job to shut it down.
Oh, T-Dog. Very well done here with the Spectre, and the patience there from T-Dog, recognizing that he shouldn't, just rotate off the angle. There could be another pusher, and just like that, he gets the second frag. Now DBK finding one of his own, trying to hold the site, but not gonna happen. Goodfellas able to secure another round for themselves on this attack side on these eco weapons. And I know that that was a save round technically for Dominance, but still, I mean, with the game getting out of hand as quickly as it is, right? We're already 10-5, and Dominance is on the side of the map that is less favored. It's just going to be such a hard way to claw and climb back into this game for Dominance.
And losing that second round is kind of a tilter, to be honest, right? Like, you can finally feel like you're falling back into control of the game, and then bam, you lose a round that you should be winning every day of the week. You really hate to see it if you're a fan of this dominant squad. And well, look, Goodfellas not giving them room to breathe. They're trying to push quick towards mid,
I
but it's
love
just
that.
getting gunned down. 3 frags across the board. The garage fight comes out on top too. It's the bonus that is perfectly done. A flawless round out of dominance, quick as could be.
Well, forget Cast or Curse. They said, we are going to change the tides right here, right now. Beautiful double boost play there on the mid by the Omen and the Jet, right? I mean, the communication was there, and it's important that right now, while things are looking really bad for you, that you keep morale high, you keep communication high, and you continue to work through these plays together as a team. Love the coordination there, and it resulted in the win.
Yeah, it really did. It was a fantastic round there. It was just a Spectre, so you don't expect to be writing home about that round if you're on this Goodfellas squad. They were really focused into this round right here, right now. Rifles up to work with an entry frag by T-Dog. There's still 2, make it 3, anchoring towards A, so this could get risky. The long fight actually looking good for dominance, but they're still down a man as the rotations work their way towards C. Pressure on Seth here.
And notice that the trap setup for dominance is actually on B and garage. So if we get a full exec here on C site from C long, Goodfellas can't, or dominance rather, can't do anything about it really for the hold. I mean, the double cage is going to be kind of effective at stalling, but it's not really going to do anything else other than that. And they're going to have full site control here. Flash is coming out. Oh, but he gets the kill from Platt. He's good for 1. But now it's going to be a difficult retake situation. Never mind. DBK from long getting 2 quick head taps. And now Venture spraying into that smoke does get a few pin markers now. the in and out of the smoke play is good for dominance. And I don't know, Mimi, that was kind of a crazy round from dominance.
Yeah, man, that was really well played by Dominance. We got to give it to DBK because the second he hears that rotations off the A side, he's instantly pushing for space. Map control is everything on Haven, and he finds that single-handedly for the squad. Had he not made that push, they could have still been unaware that it was going to be that initial C-pop, but they were all on the scene, ready to pressure, delay enough time for DBK's flank to go huge, and now look what this has done for their economy. It's looking great. Rifles across the board and op up for DBK. And on that attacker side, we never really got to see him with the operator in hand, so he can be a big game changer with that now behind his back. It's just an eco. They're trying to go quick and prod. Oh, he finds 2, but taken down. Rifle in their hands now.
Oh, quick additional frag from Sacred here in the garage. Ooh, Venture! Sharpshooter with that Sheriff in hand. Has the spike and probably going to look to rotate here with T-Dog towards this A side, but op in waits, does the right thing, and teleports across. Just the awareness from DBK, or I'm sorry, awareness from T-Dog to avoid DBK, and now might be able to get a cheeky kill on the DBK. No, the awareness from DBK. So well played.
Close enough. Yeah, it's perfectly played. Here's that little teleportation across, able to shut it on down. Venture now alone with the Sheriff. Again, economy damage is the name of the game. They've gotten 2 weapons at least off the board, but that op is still in the hands. That's the big ticket item here for Venture to try and take care of, but I don't know. Not too much for him to do here. 30 seconds left. Needs to isolate a duel quickly, and they might have just given that away.
Left.
Sacred's alone towards garage.
See if this quick peek can land another head top for Venture. No, it'll be Sacred securing the round for dominance, and we are just inching closer and closer to a tie. You know, dominance finding some dominance here on the defensive side, Mimi, and talk to me through about what you've been seeing in terms of the changes from dominance to start winning on this half.
I feel like it's just them playing the map control in a lot of these rounds. I mean, we talked about that DBK push in, I believe that was the 4th round to find the information in the flank in towards long. Now they have this operator, and they invest a lot of trust in him. It's actually an incredibly similar story to Fiend, that they play around him, let him do his thing. The dash is offline, so he has to be careful, but he'll stay alive. Op doesn't net anything. But what I was getting at is the flexibility of this squad. Notice how the Cypher setup is different practically every round. The Jet Op is in a new place practically every round. It keeps Goodfellas guessing, and it makes this team hard to read.
Right now, Goodfellas looking to just hold angles, playing this default, right? You see T-Dog in that cubby, just kind of watching for the C-Long push out, but it's not coming. Now the drone, though, going to be pushing up this mid, try to get some information on this B site, but like, Dominus is playing very well. You can see them spread out properly, utility everywhere, camera to watch for that B push in, and right now it's just anyone's game.
They could be. Cam is still up in towards B, and well, is not really taking too much space quite yet. I think they're just trying to maybe pull a rotation in towards A, leave their jet in the way of Fiend anchoring down to catch something out. Maybe you can re-rotate off that, but looking at the time, 30 seconds left. They have to make a decision quickly, and with the teleport towards, I believe that's Heaven. Now A site has to be the choice, and it's Prod to hold it down towards Long.
Do they know about the A Heaven TP? Oh, he's finally gonna get peaked. T-Dog could have had a pick there, but no, it'll be Sacred plus Neural Theft to follow. So that's actually really big info to see the rotation, to see that they've all already gotten a C site, but it is a bit late. Now they'll have to play the retake.
That they will. Hunter's Fury does something, finds a frag onto Venture. It's Fiend holding with this off, and it's Seth in close. This setup could be so risky against this squad, but he hasn't found anything. CKY shuts it down. Now it's a 2v5, and Fiend has one.
Well, Cheat Code has one of his own, so can he get more? Cheat Code with another, but the full flash onto Fiend. But the classic right clicks are too clean. Now, switching to that Phantom, can he get the round? He gets the clutch. Fiend is a madman.
Well, Fiend is a Fiend. He has it in the name for a reason, because he goes absolutely nuclear here. Everything was falling against him. Seth's lurk goes horribly wrong, doesn't find a single frag. It was a 4v5 to begin with, and Fiend just going nuclear. Finds that first frag, dashes away, finds two more, and is able to net himself that tailwind. It's perfectly played. That's why Jet is so hard to contend with when it's a man like Feed on it, and that's such a punishing round for Dominance, because now it's only 2 away from the Goodfellas closing, and I mean, we talk about the heroic swords again, but it was all off of T-Dog's play there. That teleport, it baited everyone. Full rotation, it was a free C site.
Extreme momentum shifter there. Can now Goodfellas ride that high till the end and close out here? We'll have to see. Dominance looking to get a little bit of damage there. Prod really doing a good job of getting these opening frags and these rounds and getting some good damage off. This time on to that Jet player, I'm sorry, Fiend. So it's kind of big with no heals, no sustain from Goodfellas, right? It's going to be a little harder for Fiend to get onto site and help them entry.
Out of charges.
Really will be. One man clearing up towards mid. F trying to make something work in that direction. DBK is anchoring towards Heaven, but there should be a smoke to block his line of sight. This has the looks of just a clean A tick, but you always have to remember the Cypher on Goodfellas, because his lurk could go huge late rounds.
Here we go. Venture looking to ult to get a little bit of information, get a little bit of damage. Chef holding it down, gets one onto CKY. Fiend gets to run it back. Now they're just holding this site. They're doing a good job. One in hell, though. I don't know if they know about Fiend here. Venture finding one on Heaven. DBK, though, returns it. Refrags with the op, and it's a 4v3. Oh. Now a 3v3. Wow, just 1v1 after 1v1. Cheat Code now getting a great frag onto DBK. Op is down. Chaotic just getting one of his own, and now it's a 1v2, a 1v1, and he can clutch it. He does. T-Dog is your man, and what an important round to win for Goodfellas as we take it to match point.
Wow, T-Dog just dragging his team over the line. They almost let that slip away from them for a moment, because Seth had that initial lurk, found a frag almost immediately, and they had to take the time to fight him back out. But what got risky is that the spike was still towards Long. He was the last man onto the site in way of that spike carrier. There was no smoke for Heaven, so that could have very easily gone the other way. But thankfully for Goodfellas, they have T-Dog, and T-Dog so strong in the clutch. It's 2 clutches to bring them to match point, but it's rounds nevertheless. Another quick hit, this time in towards A. It's Prod to hold.
I love this. 3 members on the other side of the map for Goodfellas. So if I'm sorry for Dominance rather. So if Goodfellas can get onto this site quick, they'll have it for free. But no, they wait just a bit too long. And so now Dominance is in position. They are on site to stave off this push, but they're not going to be able to do it with these eco weapons. And Goodfellas just getting the site for free. And before you know it, it's a 1v4, and it's all up to CKY to keep him and his team in this map. As he peeks out, just a quick little tapper from Venture, and What a game from Goodfellas, Mimi. I am shook.
Absolutely. They had a fantastic showing throughout this match. And I mean, like their first half, it was looking good, but it started to maybe be a comeback on that defensive side. But again, the mid-rounding was just so strong from this squad. It felt like half those rounds they were just walking out onto a free site. We just can't ignore the clutch factor. Fiend especially, 26 and 12, having a huge impact on both halves. 5 first bloods for the man. T-Dog as well, having a ringer of the game. No one was quiet for this Goodfellas squad.
Most certainly, and Fiend with that ACS of over 300, just showcasing how much this guy was all over the place, really being as impactful as he could possibly be for his team, especially on that jet, like you mentioned, time and time after again, with those op picks, tailwinding away, just getting, even if he wasn't getting a frag to open the round, he was still getting damage, he was still getting info, and that can make or break a whole round if played correctly. So I think that was a phenomenal showing there by Goodfellas. Obviously, Dominance has to go back to the drawing board and figure things out for game 2, but we'll actually have to take it to a quick break before we get into map 2. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Valorant action after this. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the PAX Arena 10K Open, brought to you by Metro Esports. And we just got done with map 1. My name is JJ. Mimi alongside me as my co-caster. And tell me, Mimi, how are you feeling after that map 1?
I'm feeling good, man. That was crazy. It was like so many wild moments, especially from Fiend on his jet. DBK as well, having a ringer of a game. The clutches were insane. It was just action back to back to back. But as we kind of take a look back at the replays, for me, it felt like Goodfellas were kind of just like mid-rounding diffing Dominance. Like if we think back to this first half when Dominance was on attack, I don't think I remember a single time where they got a site for free, right? There was always someone anchoring. There was always someone holding down who had the information. Whereas once we switched sides, Goodfellas was able to just read them like a book, pull these fakes, find these free sites, and just hold down the post plant strong. And even when things went awry, the clutch potential that this squad has is so high. And I mean, Goodfellas, well, it got maybe a little closer than it initially looked. It was still them in control of the game for the majority of that.
And I think that we have to give some credit back over to Dominance, right? They still did a pretty good job of bringing the game back within a reasonable distance, trying really hard on this defensive side as on a map like Haven, where it's really hard to win defensive side. We know that it's leans a little bit more attack sided. So Dominance tried to claw their way back in, but I think that really was the kryptonite of it all was the fact that they just gave away too many rounds on defense. And I think that when you give too many rounds away in the first half on a map like Haven, when you don't win enough on attacking side, it really provides a lot more of a taller mountain to climb, and it, it just showed.
Yeah, it really did. And I feel like what really hurt him in that second half especially was they won the pistol, and then there was a force buy win. And that's what kind of brought the Goodfellas back a bit better under control. And, well, what really hurts about that was that it was the map pick of this dominant squad. If we can take another little peek at the maps here, it was them heading next into Icebox, their choice, generally a stronghold for this Goodfellas team, and say we can get something crazy and have them come back, well, then we end out on Ascent, which is another strong one for the Goodfellas. I mean, this is just such a good map pool for them, and they've just really come out swinging out of the gate and just looked dominant there on Haven.
Yeah, Fiend especially. I mean, we talked about it before the break. This man took over the game. And I said it, too, that I was looking forward to seeing who was going to break open this first map and take over the game. We'll have to see if Fiend can keep it up here in map 2. As you already mentioned, Icebox going to be that map 2 selection. So I consider this to be a little bit of an equalizing map. I don't know too many people who favor Icebox, right, or who really, really love it. So I do think that it's going to be very, very interesting to see whether or not Dominance can bring it back and send us to the game 3, or if Goodfellas can continue their dominance and continue to and close us out here in this 2-0 series.
Yeah, we'll have to see, but I feel like Icebox, it's a very telling map about a squad, because you can see when a team is prepared for it and when one isn't. It's a map that you can pug for sure. Like, it works on that attacker side to just like exec A every round, but it's one that has a lot of depth. And I think it's similar to Haven in a way, in that like it takes a lot of lineups for you to play it effectively. It takes a lot of nerdiness to kind of fit into that meta, because obviously we've got Viper a lot of the times in play, either a Sova or a Sky pretty popular. Like it takes these agents that take a kind of a lot of prep to put in. And under Brimstone Gaming, I know that this squad wasn't bad on Icebox, but I still feel like the Goodfellas looking a little bit dominant. As we hop on into the agent select, well, these picks aren't a huge surprise. Really kind of a standard comp for the Goodfellas. T-Dog on the Viper is that solo controller. You got the Sage pick for Seth, and then the Sova with the double duelist. You love to see it, and honestly, I'm expecting this to be mirror mode. I think Sacred will likely play the Viper here, so nothing surprising me with these comps really whatsoever, but we've both talked about it. I'm excited to see Fiend back on the jet. Same with DBK, really.
Yeah, these glue-eating jets are a sight to see. I love watching it myself, too. As I mentioned before, I love the operator as well. So any kind of op play is the kind of play I love to see. But I agree with what you said. The Viper here, kind of the X factor, as we've discussed all day. And a lot of people agree on Icebox. Such a big pick here. And don't even need to usually run smokes, just because of how effective Viper is at splitting these sites and the map, really, when played correctly. So I'm excited to see how this is going to play out. Obviously, this being Goodfellas to start on attacking side, we'll see whether or not they can get off to a good start, or if Dominance can try to have a little bit better of a defensive side this map. Obviously, starting on defense could maybe shift that around, but we'll have to see. Either way, though, I'm sure it's going to be a good game as we are just about to jump in.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what we bring out here. I think something that I didn't note in the previous map is that Trainer is coaching for this Goodfella squad. If you don't know him, he was previously the coach of LG for about a year, of Luminosity, and he was coaching during that kind of run-up where they won NSG Winter Champs, and then they were starting to make runs at the VCTs. I think he also had a stint coaching for BBG, so he has really a history as a coach, and I'm excited to see what he's bringing to the roster. Of course, in that last match, he didn't get too much say, at least during the game, because neither team used their tack pauses, which I thought was interesting, especially for Dominance, because there was a couple moments where they were just losing out on a big streak of momentum, and well, they never had, or at least they never took that tack pause to try and slow it down.
Yeah, it's actually interesting that you mentioned that too, because I agree. Like, at the end of the day, sometimes you need to take a breather and like recenter your team and reorganize and figure out the strategy, right? And talk to each other. And sometimes the buy phase is just not enough time to do that. So we'll see if that happens in this game, if any tack pauses come out, but we'll have to see, as now A side looks to be the first sight in the eyes of Goodfellas, as we have map 2 now fully underway, and Fiend leading the charge, rightfully so, coming from the belt, dropping down, getting the double dink here on DBK, and that's a big pick onto a big player from Goodfellas.
Oh, poor Sacred. He's just stomping his way forward, completely unsuspecting. Seffel shut down. That's a sheriff that can be recovered. Now, B-side's completely open for business. They should be able to run right on into the site, and that they will. Full retake for Dominance. There's only 3 players left alive. Tough one for them to fight back into.
And just the awareness of this Goodfellas squad to have Viper chilling in the lurk position, right? You see this Jet get into side A, get a pick. You think, okay, it's going to be a fast A, and it's like, no. You send a few on the flank thinking this is a free flank, and wow, you just got picked off, and now A side or B side rather, is completely lost. So very, very good start here for Goodfellas, but can they close it out? Chaotic on the flank, looking to try to make some work, but not going to be able to do so. Venture finds him, but Prod on the other end on this Reyna gets 2 of his own before he's finally put down. Now all that remains is CKY, but only for a short amount of time, as Goodfellas going to be the first round, or be able to pick up the first round of the game.
Yeah, I think that Sage well missed it. It could have been a big X factor for them in that round, but it went a little wide. They were able to shoot right on through it, so the fuse could not be stuck, unfortunately. And if we swing back early in the round, we just saw it in the replay, but the aggression from the Viper on Dominance to just kind of run it down out towards main without a care for what could be on the other side of his wall is just really unfortunate. Goodfellas were quick to capitalize, change the plan in the mid round, and take things in towards B. I think that's the strongest thing for this team that we saw in the last map. It's how they can adapt in the mid round, and they're keeping it up early on here on Icebox. It's a strong buy for the attackers, really just pistols to try and work something special for Dominance.
Wow, B-side is completely just free. I mean, rotation's finally coming through, but I don't think this Viper's going to be able to hold it. And now wall goes down, spike to follow. Now Goodfellas can just fall back off site, get to yellow and green, and just play the spike.
That they can. Fiend in a good position here. He has the tailwind, so he can just, again, try and get aggressive because they have the Viper utility to fall back on. Him having this Ghost really doesn't risk too much in way of money. So Goodfellas really playing this strong. And Dominance, this clock is already ticking away. I think they're waiting for this flank to come through before they commit. However, Venture, he's sniffed it out. He's ready to hold. Maybe not. Fiend, a double with the Ghost. All right.
Gets the double dink. This is what you love to see from Fiend. DBK gonna finally shut him down. Just going tit for tat here, but it doesn't look like Dominance is going to be able to get much. Looking for maybe some exits here. Rod gonna get pinged off. They will see him and take him down, as you don't really want to save here on this pistol.
Yeah, and you noticed that there was Sova lineups in play there. They never had to use them, but there's definitely some tactic Goodfellas has put in here on the back end to be ready for that post plant. So Dominant's definitely going to have to be looking out for it. I like the play there, right? They were trying to get a pinch in, try and contain the players from the Goodfellas to either die to the spike or die to them with the pistols, but Goodfellas, they kind of just disrespected it, ran straight through, were able to shut on down. And now with Fiend having saved in that previous round onto the pistol, he'll be able to buy up a hero rifle here. His team is fully armored with Spectres. This bonus is dangerous.
Dangerous indeed. Fiend and company gonna get pinged out here a little. Now Seth with this Spectre in hand might look to push this belt. And ooh, CKY getting a good opening frag onto T-Dog. That's gonna be big now, as it should slow the Goodfellas push. And Chaotic getting one of his own. Venture looking for the trade, but with the one-man disadvantage, do they keep pushing in? I guess the call is yes. Seth finding one of his own to equalize things, but DBK with the Sheriff and the one tapper. Oh no, the failed tailwind, but it somehow is okay as Sacred bails him out and gets two of his own to close out the round.
Yeah, 3 left alive here for Dominance, so it's a bit of damage dealt by this Goodfellas squad. What was crucial for them is that they shut down the lurk only. There was a man trying to work his way up towards mid and make himself a thorn in the side, but they killed him right off the rip, so that lurk wasn't successful. Had it been, maybe we see a different story, but Dominance holding on tight here. No op for them out too early on, so it looks like we might be on some kind of pause. Not sure the nature of that, but I'm sure we'll get you guys into game as soon as possible. Sacred disconnected. Unlucky.
Oh, I see. ISP probs. But, you know, in the meantime, we can look at this economy and we could talk about how, in reality, Goodfellas, they're kind of broke. And they're dumping everything into this round, but it's extremely risky, right? If they do not win this round, it's going to really hurt their potential to win these next few attacking rounds after that. And it can really give Dominance kind of a way to get back into the game, a way to win some more rounds here on this defense side. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Mimi, this is still an attack-leaning map.
I think it can kind of swing either way here. But I don't know. I think that a good coordinated squad can make this attack pretty dominant, right? Like if you have the Viper play pretty well, if you can have that post plant strong. But I would feel like for the defense, it still might lean a little bit their way with how well you can anchor down in some of these situations. Although I think that Icebox is kind of in a similar boat to Haven, where it's a little more even. It can swing either way. It just kind of depends on these teams. But in way of what we saw in the previous one, I think both were kind of stronger defensive squads. We saw good things from Goodfellas though, like with their mid-rounding that I've been talking about a ton throughout this, and just their general play on the attack, because they have these players they can just let loose, and we've seen it early on here. So I'd expect Goodfellas to probably be mustering a good attack side, which makes me really want to have Dominance put an emphasis on getting as many rounds on the board on the defense as possible.
Yeah, and if you didn't catch map 1, Dominance really fell short in that map, so taking back map 2 is going to be really important to not only send us to game 3, but to restore confidence, right? Obviously, FPS is all about confidence. It's all about keeping the team morale high. And if at any point in time that starts to dip, it's really important for that IGL to kind of bring the team back together so that they can continue to have a chance and win on the side that they're struggling the most on. Because when that half switches, it's a momentum switch, it's a reset, it's a 0-0, right? So they need to be able to tell themselves that it's okay. Even if they don't necessarily win this defensive side, they can still bring it back on attack. As we now have some replays queued up for you. In the meantime, as we wait for the game, I mean, we can see Goodfellas really have come out to play today.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a fantastic look out of this Goodfellas squad all day thus far. I mean, they were in that upper bracket for a while for a reason, right? Like, or no, excuse me, I had to switch for a second. Goodfellas were the ones who had been down here for a bit, because they took that 2-1 over Big Frims. I had the names swapped in my head for a moment, but they've been kind of making themselves the demons of the lower bracket here, whereas Dominance, they took down that Sonics plus Jerk squad, so 4 players from the Susquehanna Sonics, and then Jerk, who plays for the Renegades. Honestly, I thought that was a team that was likely to win the tournament. They got knocked out pretty early, 2-0 fashion by Dominance. As well, they were able to take down CMM, or excuse me, I think they actually lost the Sonics game. So my brain is all over the place today, but you know, we're getting everything fixed. Maybe my brain cogs get turned a little better as we're just still waiting for Sacred to hop back into the server.
It's okay. We all have a little bit of brain lag sometimes, but definitely agree. I think that it's going to be interesting. I don't know about you, and you can tell me if you agree or not, right? I think that things like this, moments like this, where there's a long break, right? This in and of itself is kind of a tactical pause, right? Because now you have a lot of time to talk with your team. You have a lot of time to kind of understand what the other team is doing, talk about what info you're getting, talk about what you're seeing, right? And use that to your advantage. Go to the other sites that you know they're kind of are their weaker site, right? They're not putting a lot of stock into, and recognize when they're over rotating, you know, things like this, these little nuances, right? This can obviously be communicated more now in a situation like this where you have all this time, someone's disconnected. And so I'm curious to see whether or not this will completely halt the momentum that Goodfellas have come out with, and now they'll maybe come out a little flat-footed, or will we see Dominance start to, you know, have a resurgence?
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. One thing to know about a tech pause is that it's not the same as attack. Your coach